Mastery Pack Guardian comes out next week. And if you're anything like me, you have been glued to the screen trying to find spoilers to see what's going to work, what's going to shake up Guardians, and what we can add to our decks that we've already been running. Now, to be honest, I've been a little disappointed so far. I know there's still a few spoilers yet to come while I'm recording this, but I've been a little disappointed because there hasn't been anything like earth shattering yet. We've gotten a few good cards. I'm not saying we haven't, but nothing is going to reshape the Guardian class in any way or anything like that. But I'm here to tell you that if you have been disappointed by the spoiler season so far, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm getting ready to tell you about it. Her name is Valda, and she's a very cool hero that does a lot of really cool things with seismic surges. Now, I honestly think Valda is the easiest, biggest winner from Mastery Pack Guardian. I think she gets the most tools. I think she is the one that is primed to do the coolest things and the most powerful things after we get to the other side of Mastery Pack Guardian. So today, in light of this, I've picked the 5 cards that I think Valda is going to be absolutely slamming into her deck as fast as she can to make sure that she's ready to take on the new meta. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoy the video. Before we talk about these 5 cards, let's talk about Valda first for a second, just in case anybody's new to the game. Valda is a 40 life, 4 intellect guardian hero that says whenever an opponent draws 1 or more cards during an action phase, create that many seismic surge tokens. So if your opponent is drawing cards, or maybe you're forcing them to draw cards, you're going to be able to create seismic surges and really set up that powerful reduction cost effect. And then at the start of your turn, if you control 3 or more seismic surge tokens, cards you own with Crush get dominate this turn. So it's actually very beneficial because you're able to block with more cards on defense because of the surge tokens, and you're able to give things dominate, really pushing through those big crush effects, allowing us to get very aggressive very quickly. First up on the list is the biggest no-brainer in my opinion in Ley Line of the old ones. This card coming in at blue and costing 0 is very, very powerful. Now, it does have a little bit of a downside here. It doesn't block at all, which is kind of tough. I actually think their design of this at Legendary is really, really cool. But Ley Line of the old ones letting us make a seismic surge whenever it comes into play, or whenever we deal damage to our opponents, is very, very powerful. Because if we throw 9 or 10 points at our opponent and they don't want to give us any surges or let us keep the Ley Line of the old ones around, they're going to be forced into blocking. Plus, we can just jam Tectonic Plating into our deck, and we can automatically make this an easy one just to put into play. Think about how many times you might have thrown a red Choke Slam or a red Debilitate at someone, and they block 6 or 5, and then they take 2 or 3 points of damage. With this card in play, you're going to get to make an extra Seismic Surge, meaning we're getting closer to that 3 threshold where we're going to be able to have Dominate for the next turn, and maybe you're able to throw a Choke Slam off of just Surges, or maybe you're able to throw Spinal Crush or maybe new Valda Specialization off of just 1 blue, which is very powerful and gives you a lot of room to really put your opponent on the back foot. Speaking of Valda's new specialization, her specialization is a 10 power, 6 cost red that blocks 3 with a crush effect that says when this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, they discard their hand and then draw that many cards. Now, the idea of having 3 seismic surges in play, which means that if you arsenaled this on the turn beforehand, you're now able to block with 3 cards, and then from here, you're able to throw this for 10 dominate, forcing them to discard their hand and then try to draw back up into something. Now, there's a lot of variance there. They could have a bad hand and want a new hand, but this also incentivizes your opponent not to block, meaning that we're able to push a lot of damage through. Now, earlier in the game, this may not have as big of an impact, but later when you get into the game, put them in their place is going to be really, really powerful. I like this card a lot, and I think that, obviously it's a Valda specialization, so we're going to play it, but I do think it has a really strong effect and really leans into Valda's game plan. If you've watched one of Ed Knight's streams recently, you might have heard this card referred to as Dark Ritual. Now, if you play Magic, you know what Dark Ritual is, and if you don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. This 0 cost instant makes 3 Seismic Surge tokens and is also a yellow, which means we could pitch it if we need to. If we wanted to throw a Spinal Crush or a Debilitate, we could pitch this to be able to make sure that we have the resources fitting into our cost curve, but also this card being an instance really cool. The other day, I played a game where my Valda opponent threw a Command and Conquer at me, and they had two cards in hand. Well, I played around them having the pummel by blocking with a card from hand and giving Crown of Providence. And instead of playing pummel, they played this card from their hand. They just made three Seismic Surges, set up the Valda specialization, and then from there just prepared for their next turn. It was a really, really good like turn sequence for them. They pump faked me with the pummel, and it really worked out for them to be able to set up, put Dominate in for their next turn, and really get aggressive. So I can see Seismic Eruption being an easy 3 of that we're going to slam into our deck. Next up is Testament of Valahai. I've been talking with the community about this shield a little bit, and I get a little bit of like, push and pull when I talk about this card. Some people think it's going to be great. Some people think it's kind of mediocre. I'm going to be honest, this card feels like a little bit of a sleeper pick to me to kind of put into our Valda deck. Now, if you read this, it blocks for 1, but it has Guardwell, which means you put a counter, a -1 counter on it at the end of the combat chain, equal to the number, like its toughness that it had. So when it blocks for 1, it loses 1 defense value. If you control 3 or more Seismic Surge tokens, it gets +2. And if you control 6 or more, it gets +4. Now, admittedly, making 6 Seismic Surges is probably not going to be as easy as I'd like for it to be. But looking at this, you have the ability to block 1, 2, and then 2 if you would like to. Or you have the ability to block 3 and then 2. You can basically get 5 value out of your shield when most shields are giving you 3 value, unless we're talking about like Stalagmite, where we have to like get into like tangible, like a non-tangible value with the Frostbite. But I feel like Testament of Valhai can be really good. And so honestly, I'm probably going to test this out because I think it fits into the deck really well. And the ceiling that we have on this card is really good. The last card on our list is Test of Iron Grip, and at this point, you guys are probably tired of me talking about this card, but this card has been an absolute all-star in all of my Victor testing I've done so far. I think this is going to be a very, very good defensive tool for Valda that you can sideboard in and out whenever you need to, and I think this card just fits super well. Like, if you're going to play this card in your Valda deck, you clearly have to be aware of the number of misses that you have in your deck. And I've already shown a couple in this video so far, but as long as we're able to limit the number of misses we have to probably like 15 or so, then we're going to be in an okay spot to really be able to make sure that Test of Iron Grip gives us that defensive value that we need against the other aggro decks so that we can set up our big turns and we can run some more no blocks like Ley Line of the Old Ones and the Seismic Eruption. So like we have this like card so that we can utilize it, and it gives us the room to play our other setup cards, allowing us to have these big explosive turns only off pitching like 1 card in a Guardian deck. I know I said I had 5 cards that we were going to add to the deck, but honestly, Daily Grind is kind of just an honorable mention that I want to talk about. This card is a 0-cost blue that blocks 3, and it says attack action cards you control get, when this defends, clash with the attacking hero, and the winner destroys the top card of the other hero's deck. Now, it doesn't have Go Again, which is a little awkward, but being able to block on your opponent's turn and clash with them and trying to destroy the top of their deck could lead us into a world where we have like a, like fatigue through damage and like milling out the top of their deck. Now, mill's not really a massive strategy in Flesh and Blood, but this is an honorable mention for me because if you wanted to make a deck with maybe something like Crash Down the Gates or like, I can't remember what the new one's called, like Bending Point or Break Point or something like that, that mills cards off the top of the deck when you crush, this card fits into that strategy really well. And I honestly think Valda could have some like weird off the cuff strategy where you're able to try and mill your opponent out and still block and play this good defensive game plan. Again, we're clashing a lot, so we have to make sure that we're limiting our number of misses, but Daily Grind could be a really cool like side quest that you can go on with Valda. I know there's probably a couple of cards I left off of this list that you guys are excited about, but I didn't want to ramble about Valda cards for 25 minutes, so I just picked like the most impactful ones that I think we're going to be able to get value of coming out of Mastery Pack Guardian. With that in mind, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Valda's the best hero, or are you going a different direction with the Mastery Pack Guardian set? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.